So good afternoon. It's now what day are we on, guys? Day three of GITEX, right? My goodness, it's gone so quick already. So we're here in the Microsoft Teams podcast room. It is my pleasure to welcome Jarkko from HP Poly and Antti from Ingram Micro. Gentlemen, I will allow you, well, the graciousness I have, I'll allow you to present yourselves. So please do introduce yourselves, let the viewers and listeners understand who you are, what your roles are, and the kind of your place in your respective businesses. Jarkko, we'll start with you, please.
Thank you, Carlos. So I have a difficult Finnish name, but it's Jarkko Huhtaniitty. And I run the HP Poly Hybrid Work Solutions business across one of our markets, which is Southern Europe, Middle East, and Africa. So thank you for having me today.
Oh, pleasure.
All right, and I am Antti Tammivuori, another Finnish guy.
Almost equally complicated names. So.
Exactly. We discussed this earlier.
Yes.
So I'm the Poly Business Development Manager, covering all EMEA for HP Poly products. And today we are talking about Microsoft and Microsoft Teams room solutions and what HP has brought. Jarkko, how do you see the space evolving on Microsoft solutions for HP Poly?
Sure. So I think we're here at GITEX in Dubai at the moment, and I think the theme of this event is AI in everything. And I think really what we're seeing is deploying artificial intelligence across the full spectrum of the room solutions. So that's really the path that we're on right now, is that how do we bring more intelligence, how do we make the meetings more efficient, more inclusive. Meeting equity is a big thing for us. So, no matter where you're dialing in from on a call, you need to be feeling part of the meeting. So even though you're not physically in the room. So I think that really just, taking advantage of the benefits of AI and, making the experiences that people have attending these calls. That's really what we're focused on, because it is all about a personal experience, right?
It is, and actually that's something that you have had for a very long time. You've been developing the acoustic noise cancelling and those features for a very long time already. Which is great. So you're in the forefront.
No, absolutely. So, and I think every company these days talks about artificial intelligence, but it's not a new thing for us. I mean, we've been doing that for years in HP. So, as you said, it can be active noise cancellation, sensors detecting the noise, blocking it out. It can be, framing of the speaker, or if you have multi-camera solutions, being able to put what we call best face forward. So it's not a bowling alley view and you try to see who's that guy at the end of the room. It's really getting a face forward for all of them. You can kind of recognize who's actually talking.
It's like, oh look, it's the CEO. Oh, I must pay more attention to him. Actually, you've been doing this for quite some time, as Antti says, because your acoustic fence technology, that was groundbreaking. That was the first to the market, obviously. And since then, you've just evolved and iterated and innovated as you've gone forward, which is phenomenal, right? The pace you've done it and consistency as well.
No, I think, and now with HP Poly being together, there's those two companies that are both innovators at heart coming together. The engineering teams are really doing groundbreaking stuff. So we're very, very excited about the opportunity in the future.
You just launched the G62 which has the coloring on the cables and those ports. I really love that feature.
Trying to make it easy for people to use it, right?
We need it easy. I need it easy, definitely.
And then what about yes, you have different kind of rooms, different setups now with your portfolio. I guess it's kind of like a full spectrum of the rooms. What's next?
What's next? Well, some of them are still under NDA, so I can't really talk too much about it because we haven't formally kind of launched them. But so you're right. I mean, we've had several new product introductions already this year in our video portfolio. I think we are now addressing pretty much everything from a huddle room to a mid-sized room to a large room, but there's still so much more we can do.
Okay.
And for me, technology is important, but technology is the enabler. What we're really trying to get to is the experience of the user, so that it would be as seamless and easy as possible. And that's really the vision that we're trying to get to, is that when you enter a room, it kind of recognizes you. And by touch of a one button, you can start a call. There's no hassle with that and these kind of things. And then bringing additional intelligence into how you run that call. If there's any distractions, we have, again, there are stuff that we can do in terms of taking, whether it's a view thing or an audio thing, that we can take that distraction out. So that's really the direction.
Yeah.
But it's the end user experience that actually ultimately matters, not the technology in itself.
But it needs to be driven by that, isn't it? Ultimately, the end user experience is key. That's what creates user adoption, user desire, and the functionality around the device needs to match that naturally.
100%.
And there's actually, I think it's very important to see not only what's in the meeting room, but also how those remote participants can participate and can have the same feeling. So the meeting equality, be it on the headsets, be it you launched the E360, or it's coming out.
Yeah.
I'm very excited of that. And you put it in the center of the table, and with Microsoft Teams front row feature and so on, everybody will be shown perfectly, and also the guy who is there on the other side of the screen will see all the faces and expressions, which I believe is the real key for the productive meeting and getting things done.
100%. So again, I think you said it. It's about the meeting equity. So there are always people that will dial in. They're not physically in the room. So how do we make sure that they feel part of the meeting? They're not feeling kind of being left out. So we use this DAC line that we want everybody to be seen and heard. That's what we repeat over and over again. So we need to design the rooms in a way that whether you're in the room, on the go, or calling in from your home office, the experience is the same for you. That's the only way we can make this a reality. And we have the technological solutions these days to do that. They can always be improved, and that's what we're trying to do, constantly improve the experience. But I think we're already pretty close to having this kind of a seamless experience.
It's interesting. I'd love to see how that product evolves, because it's not new. The concept is not new. Naturally, it's been around for actually decades. When you look about what Poly were doing previously, you guys were the first to introduce a full screen. I forget the actual product name. You probably know better than me, but it was a four display center of meeting space, more designed for casual chairs as opposed to a meeting room table or boardroom table. But obviously the concept has evolved over time, and there's been other players coming into that. But you guys kind of set the stage for that, didn't you? You kind of made it the acceptable thing that you can have a conversation across the room, you can have a conversation across each other. Now technology's caught up to a certain extent, and it's become much more of a consumable item and much more acceptable within the boardroom space, within the meeting room space. And I think it's only got really good potential ahead of it. So I'd be very, very curious to see how that evolves ultimately. I know you can't say how it's going to evolve.
Stay tuned.
But yeah, exactly. That's what we want to hear. Stay tuned, right?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Wow. Hey, let's have a look at. I was thinking what we as Ingram Micro, we've been developing, of course, the business. We are your largest distributor in EMEA. And we are supporting various different kind of companies on the services side and on the technologies. One thing what I'm actually quite interested is how do you see what is the in order to sell a Poly video meeting room, what would be your thoughts? What else should we be concentrating? Should we be adding to that so that it is a full room and purposeful as you imagine in HP world, that okay, this is perfect meeting room.
Well, that's a good question, right? This is a Pandora's box question.
This is, yeah. I'm just trying to think which angle to take, because that's a very broad question, right?
Yeah,
but maybe I take two steps back onto, if you allow me. Because what we do what we call work relationship index survey every year. So we actually contact a lot of our customers and we ask them, what do they expect from us? What is their current experience? What should be the future experience? Where can we improve, etc. And from that data, there's some pretty interesting stuff that is coming up, and things that are really sort of, for me, when I go and meet customers and some executives and customers, it allows me to have a conversation that this is something that you really, really need to invest in if you haven't done so. I'll give you a few data points because I think they're pretty staggering, actually. So from the work relationship index, we saw that only 28% of the respondents actually said that they have a healthy relationship with work today.
Wow.
28%.
Wow.
This is knowledge workers, guys. This is knowledge workers. We're talking.
Healthy relationship.
Having a healthy relationship with work.
What is that? Quantify what healthy relationship means.
So there were different qualifiers in that, but it basically just lets you know that the tools that have been deployed by their employer are not allowing them to be efficient in work, and therefore they've been asked to do a lot of work that they feel is not relevant. So the work that they do is not meaningful. Therefore, their overall well-being is being impacted as such. So it's kind of a broad conversation that we're having with the customers, but it's also very intriguing when you start really looking at those data points. So if 28% of people only say, I have a healthy work relationship, we have a huge percentage of people that are really not feeling good about what they're doing. But still, work is such a big portion of our lives, right? So what can we do about that? So the other interesting point is that when we talk about artificial intelligence, those companies that actually had deployed like Copilot broadly to their employees, those participants were 11 points higher in their index compared to the ones that did not deploy AI broadly in the company.
So they were only 17% as opposed to 28, is that what you're saying?
No, so 20, the other way around. So they're like 39%, still very low. You can do a lot more, but they were significantly higher. So companies that were actively deploying and using artificial intelligence were getting a much better score in this work relationship index. So that led us to believe that it is actually really delivering value for your company as an investment. And that's how we try to pitch this to the senior executives and companies that we meet, is that it makes sense to actually invest in these tools. I'll give you the final data point, which I thought was completely mind-blowing. 87% of the respondents of these knowledge workers said that they would be willing to give up a portion of their salary to get the tools that they need to work efficiently.
That's significant, isn't it?
So that for me was like, this is a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Like, there is real value inherent in these tools. Dear Mr. Customer, if you're not deploying these at scale, training your organizations, looking at your workflows, you're really missing out.
That's crazy. 87%.
87% is massive.
That is a huge amount of people.
So from that perspective only, Antti, I would say it's like, co-deploy your Copilot licenses, because you can take so much of those mundane tasks away of keeping meeting minutes and, all these things that it can do for you. In Teams environment, Copilot is so efficient. The personal productivity is boosted, the team productivity is boosted significantly. And, when people feel that they don't need to do those kind of not so relevant tasks, they're important, don't get me wrong, they're important tasks.
So they still have to be done,
but
right?
they have to be done, but the technology does it 10 times better than we do.
And faster.
And faster, so why not let it...
And more consistent.
Consistent.
It doesn't get tired, we do.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
It doesn't have bad days.
So just make sure that you go deploy that technology. It's already there. And the speed at which this now goes, when we see the new iterations, new features into Copilot, for example, it's just, it's amazing. So if you don't start the journey now, by the way, you're already late, right? If you don't start the journey now, you're going to be very, very late. And then think about this from a perspective of your employee image, for example. How do you lure best talent into your company? So I would say that's really the direction. Is we're trying to get all the companies to understand that they need to get on this journey ASAP. And there will be a lot of different kind of improvements to that where we are today, which is already a good place to be, but we're going to be much better in the future. So
it's incredible, really. Those statistics are wild when you look at them. But I think it speaks testament to the fact that you're embracing AI within your product set, and actually the features and the functionality. I watched a video not long ago, released in the last 2 to 3 weeks, of forgive me which product it was. It was your new camera. I don't know the product well enough, but it was doing the presenter tracking. And
right.
E60 proper.
Yeah, probably that's exactly the one I was thinking. Right?
I saw that. Yeah.
I can't know all of them from memory, but
don't worry, it's all acronyms. I'm struggling with that as well.
Exactly. Before ultimately I'll end up referring to the wrong thing, and then I will be insulting people. But it was one of those where I was so impressed. I've seen presenter tracking before. I come from a 27-year Pro AV background, a solution consultant for many of them. And ultimately, I've seen this kind of technology pieced together with a lot of different equipment. Now that's available within one camera system, which is portable in one hand. It's incredible what you've done with that evolution of that product. But it is interesting. I've got a question, if I may, in terms of how is Ingram Micro supporting business in adopting the, I guess, the cutting edge video technologies from HP Poly?
So, firstly, I think we have a very long history working together in this field. We know each other. The teams know very well each other. So that interaction is just naturally happening there. I think your scale, your reach, that's what we need really to get the message out there. So, I mean, we have already our own high touch sales teams, end user contacts, etc. But there is so many partners out there, so many end user customers out there that we're not directly touching. So just having that ability. And I think your long history, as you said, you've been very long in this domain. You guys understand this in detail, and that's valuable for us because, for me, this is very much about value distribution.
Yes,
there's a volume play in here, but you need to understand the domain. You need to understand the ecosystem that you can actually operate here and find the right way of doing the business. So.
And that's Jarkko actually what we discussed earlier regarding that discussion on wireless versus wired devices. Since we are very good at selling the wired devices, which are easy to use, and for some cases they are the perfect solution. But there is a whole bunch of customers, and I believe that would come back to the workforce index that you just
the work relationship index,
index, and the satisfaction and the happiness and the tools. Yes, they are the AI tools, but they are also the physical tools. Whether you have a headset that is up to the standards that allows you to work a mobile way, work from wherever you are, be it cafe or be it at the office or be it at the home or somewhere between these places. So it's very interesting thing to see where that goes to.
No, absolutely, and I know this podcast is more about the video conferencing, but there's a ton of stuff happening on the headset side as well. And as you rightly said, it's always the end-to-end solutions. What does the employer actually give to the employee in terms of tools of being efficient? Audio is critical, and if people are on the go, having a high-quality enterprise-grade headsets and active noise cancellation and everything built in there at an affordable, good price, that's important.
So can I say that next time when you do the same research, that if the customers have you started to use the Copilot licensing and it is widely used in the organization, so there is no more those routine tasks that can be covered by other stuff or by computers, and then they have great headsets that is really pushing them the productivity soars to some.
I sincerely hope so. But that means that we actually get the customers to go deploy that technology, and because it's also, we have to remember, I'm a user of Copilot myself. And it's a long learning journey, right?
Yeah.
There's certain things that you can pick up quickly. You see that this is so easy, this makes my life so much easier. But then there's so much more you can do with that. So how do we make sure, because we're all so busy, right? Our calendars are busy, day in, day out.
And it's only as good as what you put in, right? Ultimately.
Yeah. So if you have to kind of get into a management of change process for yourself.
You do.
To really learn a new way of working. And that's hard, right? That's hard because we are so fixated into how we run our...
It's intrinsically difficult for people in general. We like comfort, psychologically speaking. Let's get into a deep philosophical, psychological conversation.
Apologies, audience.
Yeah, exactly. Well, let's do night time with Ingram Micro now. I'll keep this brief, but psychology, especially psychology in the workplace, psychology in the adoption of habits, really interests me. And I can't give you statistics around what percentages and so forth. That's maybe for another podcast. But actually, the way that people work is within a comfort zone. Ultimately, the way we operate in our private lives is within a comfort zone. We don't like to be outside that comfort zone. Adaptation and change is painful. We resist pain, therefore we stay within our boundaries, we stay within our remits. Ultimately, that means that we operate largely in a capacity of, I will just keep doing what I'm doing. Unless you're in one of those, as we are as a team, where we have to constantly adapt, we have to constantly react to situations. So therefore, it's ingrained in our DNA to work that way. But it's not for everybody. So like you say, it's an educational process. You've got to coach yourself in order before you can coach the technology.
Yeah, I mean, you're 100% correct there, Carlos. So, I'm into that same space as well. I really into kind of how the human brain works. I'm really interested in that.
It's fascinating.
And most of the time, we run on autopilot because if you don't run on autopilot, basically you're consuming so much energy. So forcing a change in your habits is gonna wear you out. It's really
Absolutely
eating into your energy. So forcing yourself to do something different that you've been doing for the past 10 or 15 years is going to take time. And I read somewhere, I may have this statistic completely wrong, but I said, if you want to learn a new habit, you have to repeat it minimum 20,000 times so that it becomes a new habit. Because your brain always reverts to the old way of doing stuff.
20,000 times. I'm not sure I do anything 20,000 times, not consistently anyway. But
and how many times have we started something and then
But that's the point.
after some time.
Before it really becomes a new habit,
it is.
You need so many iterations of that, so we never get there.
No, exactly.
And so this is personal discipline on that.
Yeah, but even that. So again, going back to how your brain works, your body resists that. Like you can't do that with just discipline. That's also the other kind of ugly truth.
Exactly that. But the solutions that you bring to this conversation, actually, let's continue down the psychological route. The solutions are designed to make life easy. They're designed to continue to progress the journey, to continue to evolve and enrich. But actually, you're doing it in a way that the user doesn't have to adapt their way of working too much. Obviously, technology will dictate, and generally Microsoft with Copilot and all these other advances are dictating that we do need to change our working habits. But generally, the technology that you bring out to enhance that, to encourage users to really embrace it, it's seamless, it's painless, right? It's ingrained and it's baked into all your solutions, that kind of philosophy. And I really like that. Because you get some technologies which it requires a degree to understand. It requires a degree just even to open the box sometimes. Yeah, obviously I exaggerate, a caveat here. But I think you understand the point I'm making. The easier you can make it for the user to adopt, then the more user adoption you're going to get. It's really straightforward, right?
Absolutely. That's exactly how it works. So it needs, as I said earlier on, as an example, when we walk into this room, it needs to be so that the meeting is scheduled. It recognizes you entering the room. You don't really need to do anything. By press of a button, you start a call. It's so simple that anybody can do that. So that's kind of one aspect of that. We've been mainly focusing here now on the end user, but then we also need to understand that these devices need to be managed. So then the other end of that is the IT delivery managers. How do we make sure that whatever we build, we have the management tools that also for them is as intuitive and simple and easy to manage? Because they have 200 rooms deployed all over the world. How do they remotely manage that and effectively do that?
That's a lot of infrastructure required.
That's a lot of infrastructure, but again, that has to be designed from the viewpoint of the ITDM. What does that person require so that it's so easy to manage as possible? So those are kind of, and we're pivoting into that part as well. We are getting really into more services and solutions within HP. We have the whole Workforce Solutions group, so is building on that. So that's another interesting angle here, although we've been more focused on the end user experience.
Yeah, I think that's another podcast altogether, right?
No, maybe not enough
maybe
time.
We need to get you back on that one, for sure. But actually, we make a valid point here, which is the capacity, the infrastructure, the service delivery, essentially. So in terms of, look at this on a global level. HP is a global player. HP Poly as a brand is serviceable all around the world. And your service speaks for itself. There's very few, if ever I hear anything, and I'll be honest with you, I never hear anything negative from the HP Poly side when it comes to service and support. And that's not just because I stretch over multiple vendors. It's very much a case of I just don't hear it. That's testimony to itself of the quality of support that you offer. But actually, from a global infrastructure perspective, it's got to be very difficult to deliver that. So, what kind of global support infrastructure is Ingram Micro providing to ensure that seamless deployments happen? Not just from you to us, but obviously, how do you view us into our partners? How do you view us as fulfilling the ecosystem, the life cycle?
So maybe that's partly for Antti to respond
to
this one as well.
Maybe
I'm staring at you because you're staring at this direction, but actually you're right. It's really more of an Antti question more than anything else.
I can add after you. I can add to that, but I'll let you start.
Okay, I'll start with it. So let's face it. To put the video room together, okay, you need pre-sale services. is that we can offer everywhere where to build a bill of materials, get the support on the pricing and so on. Work very closely with you. The more complex cases, the more we need your technical support, and we get it as well, and we're very proud of that. And then of course the maintenance services and so on. One thing what we have launched just recently is our buy and try program. So what we're doing here, it is available across EMEA for all our resellers, and the idea is that we help the reseller and the end customer to from the point when they have bought the solution, or even before that point of when they have bought the solution. First to describe and build a bill of material and build a full room solution. But then we'll take the end customer when they have installed, when the partner have installed the devices. We take the end customer for 2 hour training through all the features, all the qualities, how the devices were working, how can you use it, what are different features, and then after that there will be a 60-day period that they can ask from us any questions, and we have actually 2 touch bases with 30 days and 60 days to just double check that they are fully satisfied with the solution, and this is something that we are doing exclusively. So it's our partner who is doing it in our behalf, but we believe that this kind of will add the value of the services, and will be a good way for the partners and of course the end customers to be very satisfied with the poly solutions.
That's good.
Totally,
Yes.
I love it.
So how much is that costing the partner?
It's totally free for them.
Sorry, say that again. Let's get that recorded. Listen to this. How much?
So it is free for the partner. It is free for the end customer.
Amazing.
Customer, and it's offered by us.
That's a commitment to service right there.
Yeah,
Absolutely. And I think you said it because, I think I said it earlier in the discussion, is like, this is definitely value selling that we're doing, and this is very technical sale. So you need to have partners that can help us deploy these globally, who understand the ecosystem, who understand the platform, who understand the domain. That is key to understand. This is not transactional selling where you just move boxes.
Exactly.
This is really creating value. And this kind of a try and buy program, the customers don't buy
and try.
Buy and try.
Yeah,
Buy and try.
that way.
Yeah.
Did I say try and buy?
Yeah.
It's natural to say that, right? Try and buy. But it's buy and try.
Buy and try.
Yeah.
What? Okay, we'll get back to that. We speak about that offline. I apologize. So now my brain is now twisted. So the customer's not buying a tin, right? They're not buying the equipment. They're buying an experience. And with what you just described, we're helping them to actually get that experience, see it firsthand, test it, and when they're happy, then they say, we go.
Yeah.
And for me, that's exactly the right sales model.
And you said exactly the key point here. Again, the customer's happy. The customer's happy. They're using the technology. They understand how to use it. They adopt the technology. They get more people in that space to be happy using that technology. They adopt the technology. Overall, satisfaction is increased. Suddenly, we're not at 28% of people that are happy in, I forget the phrasing exactly on that one. But I'm sure.
Work relationship index.
Work relationship index. They're saying they're happy with the health aspect of their job and how that makes them feel ultimately. Suddenly, you've got people who are engaged with the technology around them who realize, well, actually, this is here to make it easy for me. I've got much more satisfaction out of this meeting. I made the point earlier in the podcast, and it's quite a poignant point. And I did a presentation earlier to a group that sadly turned up to one of my presentations. But I made the point. You take an average 10-person meeting room, and you've probably only got 1 or 2 real contributors in that meeting room, right? The 2 people, one who's hosting the meeting, and maybe another one who has a strong enough opinion to speak up and actually create a counter argument or reinforce what's being said. Most everybody else is going to be in that meeting room space just participating. In some cases, not even that. They'll be on their phones, they may be on their laptops, they might be completely switched off and disengaged. Actually, going back to your whole meeting equity and that whole democratization of the technology and actually having that deployed for everybody. When you look at the technology that's built into these systems, when you look at the support that we can offer, excuse me, You look at, I'll try again. This coffee is the terrace, always at the key points. So when you look at the technology that's baked into your solutions and the support that we can offer, suddenly you've got a complete ecosystem of handholding, if you like, for the customer. Now, take that into the meeting room space, adopt Copilot, adopt AI-enhanced technology, wrap that around with services that get the user understanding how to use that. Suddenly you have 4 or 5 of those people that don't even need to be in that space. They can be much more productive. They can be somewhere else. They have recall. They have recaps on it. They have meeting follow-ups. They have summaries, translation if it's multi-country, as we are as a business, as you are as a business. And suddenly the productivity, the cost reduction, the satisfaction, all of these things which matter these days, where at one point it may not have done, increase exponentially.
Exactly.
You've saved so much money for the organization. Your employees are much more satisfied. Therefore, they're much more keen to enhance and evangelize the brand that they're working for. It's a holistic view, really, when you think about it. I hate to say that term because it's such a fluffy term, right? Holistic, man. But ultimately, it's exactly that. And as a business, you have to look at it that way. What are you delivering to your customers, both internal and external?
Everybody wins in that equation.
It's a win-win for everyone.
Yeah. Yes, the company needs to make financial investment to deploy these tools, but the payback, at least what I can see, the return on investment is very, very quick.
Yeah.
You need to go through that management of change, obviously. People need to be trained how to use those. People need to use those tools to create new habits, as we spoke earlier. But when you get there, the payback is, in my view, is significant.
And that's why the buy and try works so well, right?
Yeah. So let's get our partners and our end customers to be very happy and very successful.
We're being told time.
All right.
We'll just carry on talking. I'm enjoying this conversation.
I could go for another 2 hours.
Yeah, it's easy, right? 30 minutes really isn't enough.
Right.
Definitely not.
All right. Hey, thank you very much, Jarkko, for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
It's been pleasure.
Our pleasure.
Carlos, as always, thank you.
I didn't do much, to be honest with you. Just stood here chatting. I like it.
Thanks, guys.
All right.
It was fun. Yeah.
Thank you.
Awesome.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers.
Cheers. Bye.